back, guys. Hope you're all well. So here we are, new episode of Ask Snes, and got quite a few questions this week, as always, of course. So let's crack straight on. And the first questions are from Keith K. Hewitt. Cheers, Keith. First question is, so you said you like semi-skim milk. Are you a fan of those filtered milks like Cravendale? Cravendale's alright. It's the only one I've actually tried. It was okay. Problem I have with Cravendale is it doesn't last that long, so it's no good to me. I prefer the long life milk, so because that way you can just keep it for ages and it lasts a lot better. I'm shocked. Excuse me, I can't get my breath. I'm so shocked you sold the Wii U. I'm not criticising, I'm making fun of your decision, but cannot believe it. That's nice of you. I bet you'll be tempted to buy it back when Star Fox comes out. What do you think of that? Possibly. But I'll be absolutely honest with you, Keith, probably not now. I think even if Star Fox is the most amazing Star Fox game they've ever made, I won't be buying a Wii U. I think I've pretty much made my mind up now, because the reason I sold the Wii U is because I just find that the first party games are extremely boring and lacking challenge. They're just not enjoyable at all. I know that people have said Mario Kart 8 on the easy levels, they start off extremely easy and you can breeze through them and it gets difficult as you go on. But I think at the end of the day, when they're making a game, it should be an increasing level of difficulty. It should be a challenge. You should be able to start from the beginning, and it should be that you actually got a chance of losing the race and you feel like you're actually in a race, and that way it challenges you to carry on and to get better. Mario Kart 8 doesn't do that. Mario Kart 8, you're just in first place and you're just sitting there trundling along in first place, no one behind you, nothing to do. It's just really crap. I didn't like it at all. Mario 3D World, I love the game, it was great, but again, it was far too easy. You just sort of breeze through it from beginning to end. There's no real challenge there whatsoever. And when I say challenge, I mean real challenge, like old school games like SNES and NES. I'm not talking about ridiculous difficulty like Dark Souls. I just want a game that actually feels like I'm accomplishing something when I play it. And I feel that maybe Nintendo, because of the original Wii being so successful, and it probably is that reason, because they've got that mass market appeal now, and they've got that whole section of people who were never gamers before to appeal to, they don't want to make the games difficult. So instead of making them in the middle and having a balance, they've just gone right the opposite end and made them ridiculously, stupidly easy. And they just don't work for me. I just don't feel the need to play Nintendo games. I don't have the urge. It's a real shame. I'm a massive Nintendo fan. I always have been since the early 90s. You know, I love the Super Nintendo. It's an amazing console. The original Nintendo, as much as I don't have any history with it, I really like the console. From what I've played of it, it's great. But I've got to be absolutely honest, ever since the N64, it's gone downhill. All of the consoles they've brought out since have had a nice, small selection of great games. But that's it. It's like the NES and SNES, they've got massive libraries, first party and third party. They had absolutely tons of great games. And it just really feels like Nintendo have completely and utterly lost their way, and the Nintendo that we have now are not the Nintendo of old. Obviously it's different people working there and running the business, but I think they're running it into the ground, if I'm absolutely honest with you. I just feel completely lost with them. I just don't get where they're going. I'm not slagging Nintendo off in any way, because as I say, I'm a massive fan, and that's why it annoys me, because I'm a huge Nintendo fan, and to see the company just not doing it right, all I can say is if a new console when that's announced, it comes out and it's absolutely stonking, and it's got backwards compatibility, which is more than likely, fantastic. If it's worth it and the games are good and they're solid and they're fun to play, I will pick one up. Not at launch, I will definitely be waiting this time, but I'll pick one up, and if Star Fox was a good game, I'll pick it up and play it, because it'll be backwards compatible, so it's no problem. But at this point in time, I've just realised that Nintendo are not really doing it for me as a gamer. I think I've said to a couple of people recently what it is as well. With gaming, I've been playing since the 80s. So I've gone from the Commodore 64 to the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. I've seen a lot of change in the industry and the way the games are made, and the way that gaming has gone from being simplistic arcade games to old home console games, and then on to now where we've got the cinematic home cinema, interactive experience. And I've evolved with the games myself, as I'm sure a lot of people have. And so I find Nintendo games far too simplistic nowadays, and I just don't enjoy them as much as I do what I get on PlayStation and Xbox, and it's a real bloody shame. But I just feel like Nintendo doesn't cater for me as a 37-year-old man anymore, and it's a real shame, because obviously people will say, yeah, but you play all the retro stuff, and yes I do, but those are of that time. They have the nostalgia attached, the memories, Even the games I've never played, they have, because of the love that I have for that console, and I can accept the games for the technology that was available at the time, I can just sort of blend back into that, no problem at all, and enjoy those games for what they are. But playing that type of game on a modern console, and an even weaker version of that type of gaming experience, it just doesn't work at all for me. I'm too much a fan of playing the modern interactive cinematic experience. That's what I like. And yeah, as I say, Nintendo can still turn it around for me. They could bring out the next console and it just be a beast of a machine with it. And the power doesn't really matter to me, but it needs to obviously be something that matches up to the current consoles from Microsoft and Sony, really. But I want something that's got a normal controller, it's got enough power to generate really nice graphics and physics and all the other good stuff that we like, and just have some good games, and just stop being stuck in the 90s and the 80s, and just come up to date and realise the industry has changed, and make more of an effort with third parties to ingratiate them. Yeah, that's all I want, really. It's not a lot to ask, but apparently it is for Nintendo. I don't know. Maybe it's just the way Japanese businesses operate. I don't know. But Sony's a Japanese business as well, and they seem to get it. So I don't know. Anyway, long-winded answer, but there you go. Next question: is Star Fox U still your most anticipated, highly anticipated game of the year? It is, even though I'm not going to be buying it and buying a Wii U. It's still my highly anticipated game because we don't know anything about it. And as a massive fan of the franchise, and all I want to see is a good Star Fox game, I'm really, really excited to see it, because all the other games on the list, I pretty much know what to expect. Whereas Star Fox U, I don't. And it could go one of two ways. It could be absolutely brilliant, or it could be a train wreck of motion controls. I know that Miyamoto has said that you will be able to turn the motion controls off, but they seem hell-bent on using that gamepad and forcing it down your throat with the motion controls and the touching the bloody screen and all these cobblers. And it's like, just you sit there and play the game. It's Star Fox. It's simple. It's a space shoot 'em up. I want to get in my R-wing, fly around and blow shit up. That ain't hard to work out, is it? Okay. Will you ever consider starting a bird aviary? Never say never long. Well, that's different, mate. I don't know where you got that one from. No, I'm not really a nature person in terms of animals, to be honest, or pets. Okay, what washing powder do you use? I use Aldi's non-bio, whichever is the cheapest, mate, to be honest. At the moment, I'm using a lot of the Ariel washing and conditioner. It's the big, like, curved dome-shaped bottles that you get, because they're always on offer in Morrison's, so I always get those. Okay, have you ever considered being part of a retro gaming world championship contest? That would be nice, but I'll be absolutely honest, I'm not good enough to play at that level. I'm a decent player. I'd say I'm pretty reasonable, but I'm definitely not like championship level. Would be cool though. I would have been better when I was a teenager, actually, because like my Street Fighter skills are terrible these days. Do you enjoy Bovril? I've never tried it, and don't try and keep. It's disgusting. Bovril's evil. Are there any odd quirks in your console collection? For example, my 360 is situated a distance from the TV and the other consoles, so that I can connect it to the modem. That's a good question. Not really, no. I don't think there are, to be quite honest with you. I'm pretty OCD in things, so everything has to be neat and tidy, and well, except for the wires underneath it, obviously, but everything has to be sort of like the right way around, and not so much equal distance apart, because that would be a bit anal, but just like next to each other, looking all decent, tidy, all facing front. But yeah, nothing much that I can think of. When you're away from home, do you not take a handheld console with you? No, I actually don't help. The only thing I've got now is an original Game Boy, and that's it. And I don't go away from home very often these days, so no, I don't. Right, I saw an emulator running for an emu. An emu. I saw an emu running through a field in a country park near where I live. Are you a fan of the emu? Rod Hull's emu, yeah, absolutely. Why has Nintendo neglected the Virtual Console on the Wii U? The Wii Virtual Console had tons and tons of content, hardly anything in the Wii U Virtual Console. As I haven't got a Wii U anymore, I don't know what's available and what's not. I occasionally, because I'm subscribed to the Nintendo YouTube channel, I do get to see the videos they put up when they put like the new games up. Final Fight 3 was on there, and a few others. They all seem to be putting good games on for me. But I mean, obviously, from your experience, you can see that there isn't a lot of content there. Yeah, as I say, yet another example of Nintendo not really getting it. I think. I'm assuming it's Nintendo of Japan that's holding it back because I can't see Reggie in America doing that. He seems to be pretty switched on, to be quite honest. What's the most unreliable console in your opinion? I think it's the 360. Yeah, you're probably right, actually. Yeah, it probably is going to be the 360, isn't it? Because I mean, I really can't think of any other consoles that have had such a bad technical issue like the 360. that was horrendous, man. That should never have happened. That was really bad. Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking there. Okay, here we go. Here we go again. Ellen Page, or a lifetime supply of free car fuel and oil change. Hmm. That's the top. I'll be honest with you, I'll probably go for Ellen Page because I'm more of a fan of hydrogen cars and I'm hoping that comes in the future. Not like I'm an environmentalist or anything, but I'd rather have that. I just think they're a more logical evolution than electric and hybrids are. So, yeah. So I'd go with Ellen Page all the way. You're decorating. The pot of paint is teetering above an aardvark. What would it be, an aardvark? Okay, or a Blackadder DVD. Which do you push it towards? Blackadder DVD, because I'm not really uh, in the game of killing off animals, especially aardvarks, which aren't that common. Well, it's not around here anyway, obviously. Are you looking forward to Nintendo's quality of life thingy? I'm interested to know what it is because they haven't said anything about that for ages. I'm hoping it's not just the vitality sensor remixed, and of course they've actually got something different. Yeah, I just don't know what it could be. I'm really fascinated to know though. Is it going to be like the Virtual Boy and they just create this random thing that doesn't do any well? Yeah, I mean obviously at the moment you got Sony with Morpheus, you got Microsoft with HoloLens, which I'm really fascinated by. Can't wait to see where that goes. And then you've got Nintendo's quality of life product, which could literally be anything at all. Apparently, it's not a new console or anything; it's just a product they're bringing out. So I'll be fascinated to see how they present that, because I'm assuming it's going to be in a Nintendo Direct because they're not going to do a live press conference or anything. But yeah, I'm still interested. Yeah, absolutely. What air freshener do you favour? It depends on the day. At the moment, it's sandalwood and something. I can't think what it is. The green one, and that's really nice. That is. So, cause I had a blue one, which was it wasn't linen. The other one was linen. I can't remember. It was some generic name. It was Oust, I think it was, and it was some generic smell that they come up with, and it was horrible. So I bought the sandalwood one instead, which was much nicer. All right. So thank you very much for the questions, Keith. Okay, next set of questions from Mark. Sega sent me one. Cheers, Mark. And his first question is, have you ever heard of the YouTuber called Mega Driver? The guy who plays video game music on a custom-built Mega Drive and has what looks like a golden axe guitar. I actually saw this question in the week, Mark, so I did go and have a quick look on YouTube. And I've seen videos before, didn't realise I'd seen him before, but yeah, absolutely awesome. If you've never seen the guy, I was going to say if you've seen the guy, guys, that makes no sense. If you've never seen Mega Drive, I'll put links down below in the description. Really, really cool. The guitar customization. There's a Sonic one. There was, as he says, there was the Golden Axe one. It was just really cool. And the Streets of Rage, when they did the Streets of Rage first level music, was just so cool. Yeah, I love metal anyway, so to see him metal up Sega tunes, very cool. Is there a cartoon you watched growing up that you followed week in, week out, but alas never caught the final episode? Absolutely have no idea. I know when I was a kid I wasn't like religiously watching like I would now as an adult. So it was just I would watch them when they're on. There was never an intent of like I need to watch every episode and understand the story and the characters and all that kind of thing. So I honestly couldn't tell you, mate, to be honest. Did you ever put a console on top of the TV when playing it growing up? Or was yours always underneath or at the side? I'm thinking they were always underneath. Yeah, because when I was a kid, the bedroom I had, from what I can remember, I had the monitor, the Amiga underneath on like a pull-out thing, I think it was, and I would have put my SNES on there as well, as far as I can remember. PlayStation 1, we was in a different place, we'd moved house at that time, and that was in my bedroom. I'm trying to think, I think I had a TV unit that I had it on, but also sometimes I used to just put it on the bed and play it that way. Um, I remember I changed the bedroom at one point, flipped it the other way around, and I had a corner unit, and that's when the Xbox came out in 2001, and I had that set up, and the PS2 was on there, and that came out as well in 2000. But yeah, I pretty much had them to the side of the TV or underneath it as far as I can remember. That's a good question, that, mate. I saw a clip of Tiger Woods playing Zelda on the NES when he was a kid. Any famous person you know of that's a gamer in his or her private downtime that surprised you? Not that I can think of. I can't think of any famous people, like you say, but I didn't know there was a video of Tiger Woods playing that. That's really cool. I'll have to look that up, actually. Have you ever been tempted to get into the Magic the Gathering cards or any card games for that matter? I haven't. I don't really understand how all that works. It always I've watched people play it and I don't get it, but it'd be interesting. I mean, you need to get like a couple of people who know what they're doing to start you off with to get you into it. But yeah, why not give it a shot? Okay, what inspires you to become a YouTuber, and what went on in Snes-tastic's mind when he uploaded his first video? As I've said before, the reason I started was my dad, basically. We had a friend who was making videos on YouTube at the time. He was doing mashups, like music mashups, and he was doing quite well with that. He was getting quite successful. And I can't remember the reason why, but we were just talking about the one night in the car on the way home, and my dad just suggested, why don't you give it a try? And I was like, I don't know, because I thought, me being me at the time, I was terrified of cameras and that I wouldn't have my photo taken, let alone be on video. And I didn't think I'd ever be able to actually do it. And I don't know what actually pushed me at the time, to be honest. I just sort of decided, what the hell, and I just grabbed my phone, which was a really crap phone at the time. This was before smartphones, so the quality was awful. If you watch the first video I did, terrible quality. And I was absolutely bricking it when I did it. I mean, you can hear it in my voice on the video, I was absolutely shitting myself. And it was literally just showing my SNES games and everything. And I put that up and that went okay. And I've been talking to a few people in the community at the time, I've been watching other videos. I'm trying to think who I was watching at the time. It's like CMB Retrospective, Ian Wilson I think was around that time, X-File, and a couple of others. And I had an account which wasn't the Snes-tastic account. First of all, I've been talking to people in the comments. And then when I decided to put my own video up, I decided to change and create this account instead. But it's basically my dad was the reason. If my dad hadn't have even suggested it, I would never have made YouTube videos. Never say never. Maybe, who knows, maybe I'd have been carrying on watching all of X-Files videos and Ian Wilson and all of those guys, and I'd have found new people as they've gone on, and then I'd have thought, it got to a point where I thought, you know what, I might as well show what I've got as well and have a chat and getting more involved, because that's, I think, what happens with a lot of people as well. They watch videos for quite a long time, and then they realise, they think, well, I've got a collection as well, I'd really like to share it with everybody, so I should give it a try. And it is really, really hard. When you first start making videos, it's a really daunting experience because you're just talking to a camera. But as I said in the past, you do get to a point where you just feel like you're talking to your mates and you're talking to your audience. That's when it becomes a lot more comfortable. You can just completely relax and just talk and talk and talk. But it does take a lot of time. It's just getting used to being in front of the camera, being comfortable with yourself, and trying not to overthink it is the biggest problem I have. Because sometimes I'll be talking away, my brain will suggest something and that's it, then I freeze. So I just try and just go and flow it naturally and don't try and think ahead of what I'm going to actually say, because it just doesn't work. Basically my dad inspired me, so that was the main reason. As much as I would like to see an Uncharted movie, I can't help but think it's a bad idea. Why is it when they base a movie off a game, they are afraid to stick to the story and script of the game? I understand they have to appeal to a wider audience, but take a risk, Hollywood, and play it out like the game. Uncharted 2 is not a weak script in my eyes. I see your point, Mark. The reason they don't do that is because a film and a game are totally different experiences, and they have to make it work in a cinematic experience for a wider audience, as you say. Now, with the Uncharted 2 story, it's brilliant, yeah, absolutely right. But think about it, if we've played the game already, and I've played that game like 5 or 7 times now, I don't really want to watch it in cinematic form. I could literally just go on YouTube and there'll be someone who's just took all the cutscenes and put them into a whole video and you can just watch them back to back without playing the game. I would rather they come up with a brand new story, to be honest. Just take the original characters of Drake and Elena and Chloe and Sully and whoever else they want to throw in. They could even put new characters in if they wanted to. Just create their own story, their own world. I don't really have a problem with that. I think it's a better way to do it. As long as they take it seriously, that's the biggest problem with video game adaptations. Just like comic book adaptations, for years they weren't taken seriously and they were treated like comic books. And now they're treated like real movies. They got it right, I think, because they decided what they're going to do is make a film where it's a true serious film about a situation, and you just accept that these superheroes exist in this world in reality, and it doesn't make it so detached. Then it makes it much more tangible, and that's what it is with video games. Don't treat it like a video game. Take it seriously like any other script they would get for a film. That way it'll work better, I think. I'm interested in the Uncharted movie. I think that's going to be really good. The one I have a problem with is The Last of Us. I don't really see what the point is, and the same as Heavy Rain, I don't see why they're making films of those. The only good thing I've heard recently is because Neil Druckmann is writing The Last of Us, which is fantastic, so at least we've got the right person doing the film there. He said recently, I believe, that there actually is going to be a different story anyway. Obviously, we're going to have there's loads of different angles you can take on The Last of Us. You can have totally different characters. You don't have to have Joel and Ellie. You can just have somebody else's perspective. So I'm really quite interested to see where it goes. I don't know. Heavy Rain, I don't really understand what they're going to do with that. I'll be fascinated to see how it's going to work as a film. There's no reason nowadays with these cinematic films why they can't make a good film. No reason at all. They just need to do what they did with comic books and take them more seriously. Unlike the Amazing Spider-Man 2, where they went backwards with that one, because that was a pile of shit. Right. Next question. Is there one movie based off a video game that you would say is pretty good? Mortal Kombat. I think most people will probably agree with that. That is easily the best film that's been made out of a game so far. And that's the thing. Mortal Kombat, if you look at it, if you look deep into it, and there's a lot, obviously, over the years, they've really developed the story and the backstory and the characters and everything. So it's a lot richer material to take from. But at the time when that film came out, it was just a fighting game. There wasn't really, at least as far as I could see at the time, there wasn't like a deep lore that they could draw from. It was just a fighting game and a championship. And it worked really well, unlike Street Fighter, which was a bloody mess. God knows how they got that wrong. But if they can do that with Mortal Kombat and make it a really decent film, then with the cinematic games that we get now, it should be really, really easy to write a good quality movie, I think. But, we'll wait and see. It depends who's going to play Nathan Drake as well in the Uncharted film. Nathan Fillion's the one I want, because that would be awesome. And if anyone watches Castle, if you watched Castle last week, there was a part of last week's episode where it was as if Nathan Fillion was auditioning to be Nathan Drake. It was so weird. He was just walking through a forest with a gun, and I just thought, this is like an audition tape, man. I would love to see him play the part, but, they'll probably pick someone really bad. What one thing would you like to see in England that we could embrace from other countries? Patriotism. I've said this before. One thing I respect about Americans is their patriotism and their love of country. Because I don't know if everybody's like that in this country, but for the most part, I feel that most people don't really care. It's just, I'm the same. It's a bit of land. I was just very lucky to be born here, and that's the end of it. And it's a beautiful country to live in. It really is. But yeah, we're not. As I've said before, these days in England today, I don't feel that you can fly the flag, whether it be the Union Jack or the St George's Cross, if you want to. I've never felt the need to do that, but if I wanted to, I wouldn't feel comfortable doing it, because if you have that hanging outside your house, it tends to give the wrong impression because of all the right-wing parties that have adopted the flags. It's a real shame. In America, it's perfectly normal to have a flag outside your house, and I think that's quite a nice thing to see. It's nice to see that they love their country that much. So that's the only thing I would probably say we need. What decade do you prefer movies from? Ooh. That's a tough one. Probably going to be the 80s. Because I would think the Ninja Turtle movie was 1990, wasn't it? So it was just outside the 80s, which is a shame. But I just think all the films I watched growing up, all the Arnold films, the Sly Stallone movies, the Jean-Claude movies, there were so many good films, RoboCop, there were so many great films growing up as a kid. And yeah, I know I shouldn't have been watching the majority, I wasn't old enough, but that was a very special time, I think, the 80s. There was no bullshit involved, it was just they can do what they want and they didn't care. Whereas nowadays, a lot of it you don't see. And I'm not saying I'm not a masochist. I don't want to see people getting their heads blown off, but I just feel like sometimes it's really frustrating with modern films where they just move the camera and don't show anything, and it desensitizes you to it. You just don't. You're not bothered by anything. Whereas in the past, in the 80s, you know, about limbs blowing off, there'd be blood everywhere. But I mean, RoboCop is one hell of a brutal film when you watch it. It's absolutely vicious. But they didn't have any barriers. They could just show what they wanted to show to really get the right reaction. Whereas nowadays, it's all just, you know, all very nice and polite. Just, yeah. Except for Dread, which was a real surprise. That was a great film. Do you prefer movies set in America or Europe? Mostly America, because that's generally what I watch is Hollywood movies, so they generally are American. European films can be good. I mean, like we had Taken in Paris, which was awesome. Obviously, you had Guy Ritchie's movies, Snatch and Lock, Stock in London, which were fantastic. I do find that a lot of time English cinema, and obviously I don't watch a lot of English cinema, and I don't watch the stuff that like the Boss of 77 watches, which is way too depressing for me to watch. But I watch things like Guy Ritchie movies, and even Kidulthood and Adulthood and Shifty, but they're all a bit too stereotypical. I think sometimes I just think they could do something different instead of all these gangster tales and come up with something new. The Sweeney was pretty decent with what's his face? Jesus Christ! What's his bloody name? Ray Winston, yeah, and the rapper. I can't think his bloody name is. Anyway, but yeah, that was a decent film. But even that was still a bit Cockney gangster, wasn't it? So I could do something different. Because the problem is you always seem to get, like, if it's London, it's gangsters and cops. Or if it's up north, it's all depressing, like, emotional dramas. And it's like, why? Why does it have to be like that? You know, just try and do something a little different. Finally, what is the hardest game you've ever completed? Metal Gear Solid on PlayStation 1. It's going to have to be. Yeah, because that game is tough. I mean, what drank my tea? Yeah, I'm useless at stealth anyway. And still to this day, can't understand how the hell I ever finished that game. But that was a hard game for me. It was a completely new way of playing games. I hadn't done stealth like that before. And I just remember it being absolutely brutal. But it was so much fun and so enjoyable. The sense of accomplishment when I completed that game. Yeah, definitely Metal Gear Solid, the first one. Cheers, Mark. Thanks for the questions, mate. Next questions are from Lee Metters, so thank you, Lee. Why did you sell your Wii U? I take it you weren't playing it is the obvious answer, but with Star Fox on the horizon, it's quite a surprise. Yeah, as I said earlier, mate, I just can't connect with the games anymore. They're just not doing it for me at all, and I really feel as though Nintendo they're just not Nintendo anymore. They're just a company built around people who just really can't make a decision and get things right. And I think the Wii U is a mistake, to be quite honest. I think that they need to move on soon. What did you get for it? I mean, money-wise, I'm not going to discuss that. I didn't get a lot for it anyway, let's put it that way, because they ain't worth a lot, but I got a decent amount. Okay, Mus247365. Thank you very much for the questions, mate. And, right. Okay, you sold off your Wii U and you're trying to sell the PS2. It's actually gone now, sold that. Are you feeling okay? Yeah, I'm right, mate. I just decided to get rid of the PS2 because obviously Jay Cyrus Next 7 sent me the Xbox, and that is my console of choice for that generation. While I like the PS2, there's some good games on it. I didn't have enough time with the console to really love it, and I've tried many a time to love it. And there's still, games like Smugglers 1, Time Bosses 2, and all the ones I always mention. Skunkworks will be going off, for Christ's sake. But yeah, those games are fantastic. But for me, it's Xbox, and I think if I've got an Xbox, there's no point in me having all this cross-platform going on PS2. I'd rather just get rid of the PS2, keep the PlayStation section as PS1, 3 and 4, which are my favourite PlayStations, and then just get all the cross-platform on Xbox. So that's the reason why I did that. What happened to the plans for PlayStation Quarter in the games room? As I say, that is still there in the centre there. It just hasn't got the PlayStation 2, it's just got all the other PlayStations. I thought it made more sense to have the PlayStation consoles that I actually enjoy. PS1, one of my favourite consoles of all time. PS3, favourite console of last gen. PS4, fantastic console. Not saying it's my favourite console this generation because it's far too early to say that, but a great console. When the new Star Fox is revealed to be awesome, how gutted will you be on a scale from 1 to 10? It should be how surprised will I be on a 1 to 10 more than how gutted I'll be. But not really, mate, to be honest with you. Because, I mean, if it's great, and as I say, never say never, it doesn't matter if you sell stuff. If at this point in time I'm feeling a bit let down by Nintendo, and I just feel like they're not really speaking to me as a 37-year-old gamer, that's fine. If Star Fox comes out, it's amazing, they start improving their games, and in 12 months' time I want to buy a Wii U, just buy a Wii U. It's no big deal, we all do it. Everybody buys and sells and buys again, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. I do find it funny when I get comments on the video from random people I've never spoken to before who decide to leave a very small comment just criticising the fact that I've sold something again. It's my money, my machine, I can do what the hell I want with it, just like anybody else can, you know. Okay, did you stick your Wii U on eBay? Hope you got a decent price. I did get a decent price, and yeah, eBay's the easy option for everything now, isn't it? Just shove it on there and sell it. So yeah, I always use eBay. What is your reading material of choice for a trip to the toilet? Usually this on my phone. It's usually like Twitter, or having a quick look on YouTube, see what's on there. Checking Instagram, reading the news, reading the Metro Gaming site and checking out the latest articles. Just anything to kill some time. Jesus Christ. Right, thank you for them, mate. Next set of question from Andy, PS1 fan, thank you. Did you buy the Order 1886, and what are your thoughts about the internet moaning about the length of the game? I have actually got Order 1886 on the way at the moment. I'm waiting for it to be delivered. I ordered it a couple of nights ago. Now, with that particular game, all the footage I've seen up until launch, I wasn't that impressed with it. I just thought, yeah, it looks like an okay average third-person cover shooter. Didn't really grab me at all. I liked the environment. I thought the graphics were really pretty, but it just, I don't know, every time I saw a new video, it looked quite boring to me. And so I wasn't that bothered. I wanted to play it, but I was going to wait for a price drop because Amazon wanted 50 quid. And I was like, I am not paying 50 quid for a brand new game. And that's not me being tight or anything. It's just that what's the point when the prices drop so fast these days? And so a couple of nights ago, Swifty Banjo on Twitter contacted me and he asked me the same thing about if I was going to play the Order because he played it and he said he really enjoyed it. And I looked on eBay and there was someone selling it for 35 quid sealed. And I thought, you know what, that's a fair price. I don't mind paying that for it. So I ordered it because Swifty said it was well worth a shot. And I thought, yeah, why not? I'll give it a try and I'll take a risk. So I did. If you're watching this, mate, I did say it was your fault if it's crap. But as for the length of the game, I did hear that apparently someone did a speed run and they clocked it in 5 hours. But the actual length of the game is 8 hours, which is what Swifty Banjo told me. Now, I think that's fair enough. 8 hours is about right for a cover shooter. You don't want to drag it out. You want it to be short and concise. This 5 hour thing, I mean, why people get so up in arms about the length of a game, and whether it be 60 frames, 1080p, or the length of the game, or some other technical issue, or whatever it may be. I don't get it because I think at the end of the day, the game is worth what you'll pay for it. If you think the game is too short, don't pay 50 quid for it. Wait till it drops to the price. Say you're comfortable paying 20 quid for a 5 hour game. Wait till it drops. It only takes about 2, 3, sometimes 4 weeks before the price drops down anyway. So that's the way I look at it. And if you think it's worth it, buy it. Don't go on the internet and bitch and moan. It's like, when was it set in stone that games had to be a certain length? But it isn't, is it? It's the experience is what's important, the quality of the product. Obviously, we don't want games that are like 2 hours long because that would be an insult and a joke. But I think 8 hours is more than adequate. I think speed runs don't count for anything. I mean, if you're going for a speed run, I'm assuming, because I don't really watch speed runs, I'm assuming they cut all the cutscenes out and they just go through the cinematics and bomb it through the game, which to me, I've never really seen the benefit of a speed run. I don't know why. I've watched a couple in the past and it's beyond me as to what the point is. But yeah, I don't really have a problem with it. When I get the game, I'll play it and I'll talk about it and let you know what I think, because at the moment, I'm not expecting much from it. So hopefully it might surprise me. From the reviews I've seen so far, I'm not too sure, but we'll wait and see. And the last question is from Jason Lane. Thank you, Jason. Okay, are you into Iron Maiden and Halloween? Halloween, I don't know, but Iron Maiden, yeah, I like Iron Maiden. I'm not a massive Iron Maiden fan, can't speak. But yeah, I do like some of their songs, and Bruce is an absolutely awesome singer. How about Oasis? Yeah, I don't mind a bit of Oasis. More definitely maybe than Morning Glory. Definitely maybe is a fantastic album. Morning Glory does some good tracks, but definitely maybe is a better album. Flyleaf, yeah, I've got one of their albums, I think. They're not bad. That's my kind of style anyway, so I don't mind them. Detain I haven't heard of. Garbage and Green Day. Garbage, yeah. Only Happy When It Rains, favourite song. Shirley Manson's really fit as well. And Green Day, you can't go wrong with Green Day. They're absolutely awesome. Everything they've done I've liked, and they're just really upbeat and cheerful. So absolutely quality band. So there you go, guys. That's all the questions. Thank you very much for watching as always. If you do have a question for me, leave it in the comments below. And the cut-off date is always the Wednesday before the video goes up on the Friday. And thank you very much for watching as always. Please remember to like, comment, share and subscribe, and I'll see you next Friday.